Good evening again, everyone. It is a great pleasure to introduce this evening, and our director, Karl Berger, is here. So thank you for being here, Karl, and he decided to let me speak to you. And as you see, it is an event together with different institutions. My name is Rosanna Dematté. I am curator in this museum. I'm sure that many of you have made the experience of how much exhibitions can be places for meaningful encounters. Our exhibition about René Danoncourt's work at MoMA has been from the very beginning the occasion for amazing encounters. We had the huge honor and pleasure to meet Michelle Elligot, Chief of Archives, Library and Research Collections at MoMA, and we're very much impressed about her research and amazing publication about René Danoncourt. Michelle, you made everything possible. The exhibition that we are here tonight, we can't thank you enough for it. Thank you for being here. Another amazing encounter occurred when Arno Ritter, director of AUT, Architektur und Tirol, came and met me in our exhibition. And if you know Arno and his impressive work as a curator, you also know that he can put the right questions in the room. One of these questions was, how much was René Danoncourt inspired by Friedrich Kiesler? Both of them had Austrian origins and were living in New York. How good did they know each other? Arno decided to speak with Marie-Thérèse Danoncourt-Fuchs about it. And one thought led to another, and that is how Arno had this beautiful idea to connect Michelle's expertise about René Danoncourt's work with Marie-Thérèse's perspective as an architect. Thank you, Arno, thank you, Out, for this collaboration, and thank you, Marie-Thérèse and Michelle, for welcoming this idea and for being here today. We're looking forward to hear your lecture together. Last important encounter in the exhibition, or on the occasion of this exhibition, last November, my dear colleague Jarosch and I met Eleni Boutsika Palace. And it was on this wonderful occasion called Premierentage in Innsbruck. Eleni explained us that she was going to work in the Danoncourt's exhibition with her students, and that the topic of the exhibition is very much connected to her research. And Eleni is working at the Department of Architectural Theory, so these fortunate encounters have been developed into this university symposium thanks to Bettina Schlorhaufer and the Department of Architectural Theory at the University of Innsbruck. That gives us today the opportunity to welcome also Florian Medikus and Gerd Zillner. Thank you all for being here. Before I introduce you the first speaker and chair of this evening, I would like to give you some organization details. Michelle Elligot published 2018 the amazing book René Danoncourt and the Art of Installation, which is luckily still available in our bookshop. Actually, the book has been sold out in the last months 2 times, and we were able to, luckily, to order a few more copies for this event. So that's a wonderful opportunity, and Michelle signed the copies we have for you, so it's a great opportunity. I'm not seeing Gabi Rath in the history. There is something interesting for the exhibition designers and curators amongst you. Interesting information point you will see in this conference room. You can learn about the association VERA. In German, it's a Verband für Ausstellungsgestaltung, which has been recently founded in Austria. I think it's an interesting platform to connect with colleagues in this work field. After the symposium, you can choose to visit the other exhibitions in the museum, which will be open till 9 p.m. Bis 21 Uhr sind unsere Ausstellungen noch offen. You are also very welcome to join us for a glass of wine in the historical part of the museum, in the hallway in the first floor, what we call Historischer Gang, and to join us and have something to drink with us. This part of the museum will be opened till 10 p.m. 22 Uhr. So you can visit the exhibition till 9 p.m. and then stay a bit longer, 1 hour with us in the hallway in the first floor. So finally, I'm really happy to introduce the first speaker of this evening. She's an architect, an artist. She's working as a researcher at the Department for Architectural Theory at the University of Innsbruck. Welcome, Eleni Boutsika.
Thank you very much, Rosanna, for the introduction. I need to... Okay, I'll fix it right. Thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you for making this whole thing happen. It was really a nice coincidence meeting you and talking about the topic. It was the right evening and the right time and place. As Rosanna already mentioned, I'm doing my research on, broadly said, the connections between architecture and scenography. And when I saw the title of the exhibition at the poster, I knew automatically, like, this is something we have to visit with the students. So, scenography and exhibitions. The word has actually been used, the word scenography has not been used for exhibition this long. It started being used, at least in the German-speaking countries, at around the 2000s. So originating from the words skini and graphia, it literally means the setting, the drawing of the scene. So over the past years, and as museums work more and more towards generating the experience around their displays, the performative aspects of the installation play a central role in both the conception and the design of the exhibition. So, as we said in November, we visited the exhibition, and I think it was very exciting, the exhibition in combination with Michel's book, which is actually a gem, offering so much original material from the MoMA's archives, to get a glimpse into René Denoncourt's work, his approach to making exhibition, his methods, his tools. I think you should really have a look into the book and to the exhibition if you didn't do earlier. Interestingly enough, another interesting part is that he also occupied both the roles of the curator and the designer, which nowadays doesn't happen so often, but I assume at this time gave him a lot more freedom to experiment with the exhibitions. He studied all the objects extensively before putting them in an exhibition. He studied them by sketching them and by arranging them in less obvious ways than mere chronology or subject, thus establishing juxtapositions and sequences that illuminated different aspects and different kinships than the usual, than one would think at first glimpse. So, quoting from Michel's book, most displays so far have been organized in a purely consecutive order by which knowledge is absorbed as if it was from the pages of a book. This is, of course, an order that does not correspond to the way in which knowledge is being absorbed in actual life. Where a person is able to compare the main object of his interest with the related ones, even if they are not directly in the path of his main progress. So, in his designs, he also pursued open vistas in the space in order to give the visitor the opportunities for more visual comparisons. Using spatial diagrams like this one, he worked on the overall dramaturgy and the visitor's experience. So, this is a very small fragment of the work being shown at the exhibition in the book. Again, you should really watch. So Friedrich Kiesler already mentioned why he was he's relevant for this symposium tonight. also Austrian-born, also lived in the US at the same time, and also pursued, let's say, different approaches towards exhibition making. So Kisler brought a lot of experience from theater making. He was making for many years set designs for the theater. Experience which he brought with him when making exhibitions. Actually, this is what helped him gradually evolve his theory of Coriolism. Here we see some of his stage designs on the right. So he saw the exhibition as a galaxy inhabited by objects, spaces, and visitors. According to Kisler's theory, all the elements have the same importance and exist in a dynamic correlation, creating an environment that invites for experience. So, in his words, the traditional art object, be it a painting, a sculpture, or a piece of architecture, is no longer seen as an isolated entity, but must be considered within the context of this expanding environment. The environment becomes equally important as the subject because the object breathes into its surroundings, but also inhales the realities of the environment, no matter what the space. So in 1942, he fully manifested what he thought a Coriolis exhibition would be in the Art of this Century Gallery in New York for Peggy Guggenheim. So his Coriolis furniture, here we see also from the book, this is an original picture, this is a model. So we see that his Coriolis furniture could become both seating and display system, allowing the visitors to occupy the space in multiple ways. So you see him lying in the picture. But I chose this picture of the model because here you can see more clearly his second very important gesture for this space, which was that he took the paintings out of the frames and also away from the wall. So in which way he integrated them, he made them an integral part of the room. Which brings me to Lina Bobardi's work on exhibition. She also worked a lot on exhibition making, crossing boundaries between the role of the architect, the scenographer, and the curator in many times. So in a series of exhibitions she designed and in many cases also curated, Bobardi, like Darnoncourt and Kisler, considered the exhibition as a Gesamtkunstwerk, a total work of art. She also proposed juxtapositions beyond classical taxonomies and hierarchies, mixed pieces of different types and periods, ancient with contemporary, arts with crafts, archaeological remains and industrial objects, toys with religious objects, like anything you can imagine, thus questioning categories and stereotypes. In 1969 was the year where she gained world fame with the opening of the Sao Paulo Museum of Art, for which she also designed the Pinacoteca and the temporary exhibition. So for the Pinacoteca, she designed what she called these crystal easels, which she arranged in a rough grid in the exhibition, allowing each visitor a wide field of vision. So you can see, I think, clearly in this picture how it would be as a visitor to float around these floating paintings. I also find this moment very nice, like almost voyeuristic to what it is to show the other side of the art, like the other side of the coin or the back side of things. It's not very often that this happens in exhibitions and in museums. So this was the temporary exhibition that she also curated. This is actually a recreation that was done for the Museum of Art in 2017. And since there was no full list of all the objects, they only had pictures and some lists from correspondence from galleries. So this is not even the full amount of objects that were shown at this exhibition. So for this, Lina Bobarti chose a more rough system, display system, and pursued more informal atmospheres, like referring to markets, to street markets or bazaars. So Bobardi not only perceived conceived the exhibition as a work of art, but also as an event, a show, a public space for education and social transformation. She too avoided linear routes and strict chronological orders, inviting the visitors to find their own ways and meanings in the space. So when we talk about exhibitions as work of art, of course we cannot not mention the 1985 exhibition Les Immatérieux, curated by Jean-François Lyotard and Thierry Chaput for the Centre Pompidou in Paris. So Les Immatérieux was an exhibition that was not artistic, documentary, encyclopedic or performative, but a hybrid mix, not synthesis, of many genres. Quoting Lyotard, the team is not attempting to create an educational exhibition, for example, to explain new technologies, but an exhibition that is itself a work of art. So this exhibition's main objective was to demonstrate the new materiality produced by the advancement in communication technology. The scenography and overall design was on purpose disorienting. The visitors were given a piece of wireless headphones designed custom-made by Philips for the occasion, through which a soundtrack would be transmitted, a soundtrack consisting of different sound, readings, music that was irrelevant to the object, but it was adding an extra layer of meaning to the exhibition. So here we have again a view of the exhibition. It included most recent technological artifacts, robots, computers, 3D films, paintings, sculptures, and generally the team worked in a very free artistic approach on how they composed the whole material, together with the colors and the lights. The lights, for example, were very dim, also enhancing this disorientation in the space. The goal of the exhibition was to redefine the medium of the exhibition with a show that combined an artistic, philosophical, and scientific approach to the 21st century. So visiting this exhibition was described as what for us to these days is so familiar when we jump from link to link or window to window on a computer screen. So having said that, I wanted to show this picture to emphasize the antithesis. So the novelty of these holistic approaches towards exhibition making that I showed before was that they considered the exhibition space as content and not container. So the whole exhibition would become a stage and a performance for the visitor to explore and become part of. It is interesting that the idea of the exhibition has its roots in the theater. Because up until the 17th century, theater and exhibition lived in kind of a symbiosis. Using the term theater, or Schaustellung, show, by using the word theater, one would include everything that would be on display. So, for example, when in 1677, Leibniz, the young at the time Leibniz, conceived this huge spectacle where he would combine art, nature, science, botanical gardens, and more, he called it the theater of nature and art, so Theater der Natur und Kunst. So the word theater was used until at least the second half of the 16th century to describe art chambers, encyclopedias, and lecture rooms, including anatomical theaters. So nowadays, one mostly uses the words exhibition or museum, and the theater is the very specific place to play theatrical plays. However, due to the increasing interest in moving bodies and interaction in exhibition spaces, and of course the incorporation of interactive and immersive media, the exhibition as a medium is becoming more and more performative, in which case a vocabulary coming from the theater makes a lot of sense. So we now these days read very often scenography, choreography, dramaturgy, narrative, performance spectatorship, to name just a few. So here we see some modern exhibitions now. So having shown all these cases where scenographic tools were used to redefine the medium of the exhibition, I hope to have given enough impulses for questions and discussions for this evening. I tried to address everyone with details in this Impulsvortrag, in this opening lecture that is invited to the panel today. And I'm very much looking forward to the rest of the evening. Thank you.